A marriage is a love story. It's your personal love story. You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days, you're going to have ups, you're going to have downs. 32 years, I tell people we're not perfect, but we're perfect for each other. And we want the days to keep going, and we want the chapters to keep going. Because I want women to know that your marriage means nothing to nobody but each other. And if you can't keep it together, you certainly can't turn to other people to keep it together. And we always put God first. We always said we're not going to let outside people destroy us, and we pray and we ask God every day to help us through the temptation, anything the world try to throw at you, because it's going to throw things at you. But you have to keep fighting, remember you're not perfect, and pray. A lot of prayer.
Well, she's a very attractive woman, first of all. Her beauty struck me right away. But then, I got to know her, and her personality was great. Her personality blended in with mine. And one of the main things, she was a praying woman, and that's something I always wanted. We prayed together, and it just clicked. Our chemistry was great together. So we was going through something. I can't remember the exact thing that we was going through at that point in time, but when we was talking about it, and she just stopped in the middle and said, "Well, let's just pray," and that just struck me right then and there. I grew up praying, and to have a woman that would pray, and we had some of the same interests, and so we just prayed then and right then and there, and it was after that it was just smooth sailing.
First of all, he had a job. No, no. Well, no. When I seen him, he was so respectful. And when I first seen him, before I actually met him, we went into the store that he used to own, and I said that guy seemed like such a nice guy. And when he actually hired me, and I said, that's the kind of guy I can marry. And because he was so warm and so polite, and he's a real gentleman, and you don't meet many gentlemen every day, and that's what struck me about him. He was so warm, he was a gentleman, he opened doors, and he was just always checking on you, making sure you're okay, and I was like, I hope he chooses me. There's a lot of women want him.
She didn't even have to fill out an application.
For that part.
I didn't, for the job, I really didn't. I was hired on the spot.
It was work, it's work raising a family. You got to put time in with your spouse. You got to put time in with your kids. So it's a lot of work, but there's a lot of love. We came from or made it more of a traditional style family. We ate together at the table a lot of times, not every meal, but a lot of times we were there. My wife did a lot of the raising of the children at home, while I was doing a lot of the working. And we stayed focused on our marriage. We stayed focused on our marriage. We stayed focused on our children, and made everything a family. We took family trips. We went runs in the park together. I used to get the kids out jogging, and my wife would go out jogging together. We just made it what was always inclusive with the children involved.
And people don't know that he owned 2 businesses for 15 years. And so while he was working the store, I was raising the kids, and he'll come home and check on them. He'll take them to doctor's appointments. And so that's what kind of way we raised our children. And we bought our first home at 23. I was 24. And our second home, by the time we was 30, we was homeowners for 19 years. And we really believe God first, family, then everything else.
I had 2 different clothing stores, and one was in the northwest side of Milwaukee, and then I had one on the south side. The main one was the northwest side of Milwaukee. It was a clothing store there, and it was, I was there for 15 years, and just put my heart into it. And it wasn't so much the business side of it for me; it was just being able to produce for my family, to be able to put food on the table. It wasn't, to me, it wasn't so almighty of owning a business, but it was just what it produced. It allowed me to spend more time with my kids. It allowed to have a roof over our head. It allowed for food on the table, and not to be able to want in those areas was, well, for a male, that's key. That's to be able to produce for your family. Early mornings was taking Kevon to basketball practice in the morning. He had practice at 6 o'clock in the morning. So we had to leave around 5 in the morning. And in Milwaukee, cold winter weather at 5 in the morning can be a little tough. But it seems like it was tough, but for me it was something, because my son was into it and it's something that he wanted to do. It wasn't hard for me to do that, to attain that. So it was just, because he was sold out to it, I was sold out to it. So it was just getting involved and getting on the schedule and doing it.
And then come back home to go to work at 7. So people don't know all the sacrifices that parents make for their children and for each other, and that's some of the things that we always put them first. Summer, taking her to work, picking up my oldest, whoever it was, we were always there. One of us was always there. And if a call came from school, I always left because he made more money. So I'm like, I'll leave and go get them if they sick or whatever. That's how we always work together, and it worked. We raised 3 beautiful children and now have 3 beautiful grandchildren and everything. So it's just been really just so many things that have happened in our life that we can just say, God, thank you, and just all the Christmases and watching the kids grow up and things people don't know about Doug, because he's a laid-back guy, but he's family first all the way. He always said if he never remembered about anything but loving his wife and his children, that's fine with him.
That's absolutely true. One of the big highlights was Kevon getting drafted. That was to see him reach his dream.
Yes.
To be his, was drafted number 30. To see him go through some different struggles and to actually accomplish the goal that he wanted to be drafted. It was that was an amazing feat. My oldest son, for him to have his first child, that was just a great thing right there, for not only for him but for us too, for our grandson, and now he's got 3 children. So one other thing I also one of the highlights was seeing my daughter go to, when she first went to college. That was a big momentous thing. She went a couple of hours away in Platteville, and that was for me. It was great to see that she started her journey in life. One of the things we wanted our kids to go to college, and that was one of the things that was a great event in my life, in our family life. Well, I believe there's always different challenges. One of the challenges we had, there were certain rumors that go out. It'd either be about myself or my wife, or your wife. They can say different things, and you just can't. I know my wife better than anybody, and I know she's a great woman. So therefore, it never really affected me. It never really affected you, because I always know, what's going on in my household. So I always knew, my wife is great, and I knew she had a great personality. I know she accomplished a lot of things, and I knew how wonderful she was. So it was just, that was a hurdle, but it was an easy hurdle to overcome.
Those are things you have to laugh at, because when people take the low road, you have to take the high road. And I always take the high road. And I've traveled all around this world, and I get great respect everywhere I go. So those people that's not going to like me, they're going to believe what they want to believe. But I'm perfectly fine and well. So all that stuff, that's why I never, ever hold my head down. I'm always going to be who I am, because I'm blessed and highly favored. And I'm so loved. If people only knew how loved I am, that's my best secret probably, letting people think what they want to think, because I'm truly so blessed. Truly so blessed. Words cannot express. When Summer was born, she was born 2 pounds, and I was in the hospital for a month. They said I was close to having a stroke, and I could have died, and then she could have died. And I said, no, we're not going to die, and no, she's not going to die. And I was in the hospital for a whole month, and my husband never missed a day coming to visit me. And then when Summer was born, she was in the hospital for a month because she had to get to 4 pounds. And he never missed a month when I was on bed rest to go see his daughter. And, people don't know. They see the glory, but they don't know the stories. You know what I'm saying? So, and even with Kevon, he was a child the doctors told me not to have. But God told me I would be all right. And my doctor told me, he looked at me, he said, I hope your God is right. And today, Kevon is an NBA player for the Golden State Warriors and still striving every day to become stronger and better, and two times championship rings, and we are so honored and so blessed. I have truly just thank God for everything He have done. These 32 years have been such a blessing, and I won't trade none of them in for nobody. So when you look at me and you see the smiles, I have something to smile about.
I think one of the main things we stayed in prayer in those times, in each moment of our life, even not only the great times, but the down times or the hard times or the struggles. We stayed in prayer. We prayed daily, and I think that's one of the big keys in keeping a marriage together, or keeping your life together, or keeping anything, just to maintain prayer. God is omnipotent. He's all-knowing, and He's the one who can take care of us, and we just got to reach out to Him.